What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Shred Show Live. I'm your host, Josh Pitts, and I'm, as always, very excited to have one of my good friends. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know Tracy Evans, so here locally in Utah, Tracy is truly a local legend within the mortgage industry. She has absolutely been one of those who, for me, time and time again, has helped me with questions when it comes to loans, when it comes to borrowers, helping consumers. Tracy, you truly are one of the local legends here in Utah when it comes to the mortgage industry. So I'm humbled and honored to have you on the show this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Well, that's kind of a big statement to live up to, but I can say I'm a little obsessed with mortgages. So
yeah, I think obsessed is the right word, and like you have a passion for it more than anything, which we're going to get into here in just a second, because something that we've been talking about, especially when it comes to Calibrate, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm testing our, I'm not distracted, we have some mic feedback this morning, so if you hear an echo, please let us know. Somebody commented already that we had an echo, and no, we don't have an echo. What are you guys commenting? We don't have an echo. So whoever just commented, Jake, sorry, we do not have an echo. Maybe reset your monitor, Jake, but we don't have an echo. So sorry, to get back in this, Tracy, when it comes to people, and you've been with Calibrate now for a while, you've been in the mortgage industry. If you don't mind sharing, how long have you been in the mortgage industry now?
well, I've been an account executive for 16 years. And
That's
then
insane.
it really kind of is, right?
That's cool, though.
I love it. I love my job.
I was going to say, you've been doing it this long, so you have to have a love for it. You have to have
I
a
do.
passion for it.
I do. I love it.
Because you get to work with originators like myself. You get to work with originators who, they need your help, which that's what I know you have come with some stories to share, which I'm all about stories, as everybody knows. I love sharing stories. We're going to get into some stories here, but I want to talk about this first before we get into some stories. There's a lot of people when it comes to an account executive role. Sometimes we take account executives for granted. I hate saying that because honestly, account
I
executives.
didn't know that.
Right. I'm sure you've never felt that way before in your entire life, but you're like boots on the ground here in Utah. You
Yeah.
know, you understand the community, you understand the demographic, you understand. So how important do you feel that is as being an account executive? Because there's some models that are like, oh no, we have our inside account executives, but you're actually boots on the ground. Do you think that's important?
Absolutely. I live here. I live here in Utah. I can be walking in the grocery store, in the mall, or wherever, and walking next to these borrowers. And Calibrate closes a fair amount of loans in Utah, so chances are. So this is my community. I care about my community. I care about my borrowers. And I think, and actually when it comes right down to it, so does Calibrate. I mean, we really do care. Matter of fact, story, I have a local broker and in a smaller community in Utah, and we went to lunch together a couple years ago. We're sitting there in this little Mexican restaurant in this small community, and they start pointing. Oh, see that person over there? You did their loan. And you did their loan. And you did their, and the server, you did their loan. You remember
No
this? And I'm like,
way.
wow, we're really impacting this little community in Utah, and we're changing lives. We're opening doors for home ownership in this community. We're improving their financial situation by providing a refinance that will help them. And so, yeah, it does make a difference. And then when you get those appraisals that are a little off, little odd, because we do have some rural areas in Utah, and maybe our adjustments are a little higher than Fannie or Freddie or FHA would like, we can make sense of it because we live here and we know the area. We understand Utah.
See, and I think that in itself just makes such a big difference when it comes to working with an account executive. It's great having somebody you can get hold of, but when you actually have somebody who understands boots on the ground here locally, like you said, to be able to go and see the consumers' lives that you're affecting every single day, that's got to kind of be like a kind of humbling to you to see the lives that you're changing.
Well, I think we own it. We own our area, not in a like a sales way, but we own it because we live here and we care.
Exactly. And that's, you mentioned that Calibrate cares. Calibrate cares
Right.
about people.
We do.
And that's what I want to transition into is people. And that's something you have dedicated, I mean, the last 16 years, you've been in the industry longer than that, but you've dedicated your life to this industry, to this career, and it's all about the people you work with every single day. And it's not just originators, like that story you just shared. It's more than just originators. It's the community. So
Right.
I know you have some stories. You've thought about some people that you've seen recently that you've been able to help, that Calibrate's been able to help. So tell us some of those, when it comes to the Calibrate caring and those people, tell us a little bit about that.
So I was recently in one of my my broker shops, and one of the things they mentioned says, "Hey, you know, Tracy, some of your competitors do have better technology. Okay, but you have people. You have people.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they felt that. And one of the first loans they closed with me, because they're a relatively newer broker, maybe a year old, the comment was, hey, Tracy, thank you for caring about my borrower. And that's what it's about. You know, I had a closing a few months ago where it was a little bit of a hairy loan. Like, there were a lot of details in this loan, and there was quite a bit of documentation that we needed, and it was FHA. And then mid loan, broker calls me and says, "Hey, Tracy, this loan we've got an NOD on it, and we just got notice it's going to auction." I'm like,
What?
okay, so now we've got a hairy loan with a lot of documentation. We're not quite ready to close. Our settlement deadline has been forced up, and we've got to get this thing to docs.
Wow.
So my underwriter stays late on a Friday night. She finishes the loan, like finals her side, and I had my closing department working on it behind the scenes, and at 10 a.m. on Monday morning, we got docs out. So that home did not go to auction. And so that's when I say Calibrate cares. Do I want to do that on every loan? Do I want everyone to stop the presses and fix a file? But they care. I mean, they truly care. And after that loan closed and funded, the loan officer called me and said, nowhere but Calibrate would this have happened.
Wow.
Nowhere but Calibrate.
See, but that's just it.
And it's not just me, it's the whole team.
Exactly. And that's what I want to stress on is, could the underwriter been like, nope, not going to happen. Sorry.
Right,
it's just
yeah,
not
sorry.
Hey, I'm going to go out on Friday. It's Friday night. I'm not going to stay and get these docs out.
I'm too busy for you.
They could have.
They could have, but they didn't. They stayed and they got the loan done. Had another file. And again, like, we can have great technology, and actually I think our technology at Calibrate is actually pretty good. But technology doesn't fix every piece of a loan. Like, people,
Totally
it's
agree.
people behind the scenes that fix loan. It's knowledge, it's experienced underwriters, experienced AEs, and people that have that type of knowledge of the selling guides that can help you close your loan. So here's one where appraisal came in low. Never happened to you, right, Josh? Never in your career?
Never has an appraisal ever come in low, right?
So we do a reconsideration of value. We get a little bit of extra value. I go, cool. It's still not where. So I'm looking at this appraisal going, all right, what's wrong with this thing? Like, Tracy, figure this out. The adjusted values, everything looks good. And I'm a little baffled. And my first response is, this is your value. This is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
And he asked me, Tracy, just look at it one more time. So I'm like, and then it jumps out at me. There was something wrong with the adjustments on the below grade. They look like double what they were supposed to be. And I'm like, I'm wondering if there's like some computational error going on in this. And it wasn't just the one comp, it was across the board. There's something wrong.
Yep.
So I show it to my underwriting manager. He sends a message to the appraiser, comes back $10,000 higher.
No way.
Yeah, there was something wrong. Technology can't always figure that out.
So
if you have
true.
a good collateral underwriting rating, which not everyone understands that, but if you have a good CU rating, you don't always pay attention to every single adjustment, but there was something wrong with the adjustments. And it's not technology that can identify that. It's people.
Absolutely.
And it's people that care and are willing to spend the time and look at that appraisal.
And that's just it. So, guys, if you're just joining us live, I want you to comment this. If you're live with us right now, comment #Calibrate Cares, because they do. Like, this is just one of those things that, and if you've ever had an experience with Calibrate, please comment. We're watching all of our comments. We'd love to share them live as we're here with Tracy. But that's what we're talking about today. Is we're talking about, it's all about championing the local expert, and that it goes back to people.
Right.
And all of us, there's so much discussion going on in the industry, technology versus people, and the originator being commoditized. Because if technology were to have its way, these fintech companies, they are trying to replace us as originators. But what you are talking about, that people factor, that's unreplaceable.
Right.
Like, absolutely, we cannot be replaced because technology doesn't care. If it's just technology looking at that loan, it's going to be like, well, sorry, Tracy, it is what it is. Like, we can't do much.
Right.
But people, your underwriters, are taking a second look, a third look, and really finding a way, because again, it's about the people. It's about the consumers that are trying to finance the American dream. You go above and beyond with that.
I mean, here's another example. We had an underwriter. I would say that at Calibrate, we collaborate as well. We collaborate together. So here we have a loan, supposed to go to docs the next day. We have a settlement deadline. And here we are at D-Day, and she calls me, Trace, or IMs me, Trace, can you call me? I've got a problem on this loan. I'm like, okay. I've lost my AUS approval. My ratios are a little bit too high. Everything came in a little bit too high. And instead of going back to the broker, which, we oftentimes do, but in this case, she wanted to actually talk to me about it. What have we got? Can we look at this together? What are we missing here? How can we get these? How can we get this? This is a really good borrower. So I'm looking at him like, we have a work number VOE, which doesn't always give us all the information we need. I'm like, this guy had a raise. I can tell. Look at his base pay. Everything is going up. But the work number VOE is going to not indicate a date of a raise. But if I could increase his base pay if I could have a date of raise. So I pick up the phone, I call the broker. In 1 hour, we have what we need. We get our AUS back, and we're at docs the next day.
No way.
So it's just little things like that where, and this is a very experienced underwriter. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's very good at what she does. So I appreciate the fact that we're working together to find a solution to get that good loan to closing. You know, another thing, and this is what Calibrate does to empower all of us to care. So we're a military-friendly brand.
Very.
Okay?
Brian Burke-Jans has been on the show,
my
and
gosh,
actually got him
he's amazing.
In 2 weeks. He's gonna be back on the show. So VA is big for Calibrate.
Big. So true story. This recently happened. I think I closed the loan a week ago. The broker called me about 3 weeks ago saying, we're having a problem getting the COE. We just can't get it. This poor veteran, he's calling and doing everything he can, and maybe not as, you know, some are more tech savvy than another, and he's just struggling getting the COE. So I get the documentation. I send it to I have a VA department that helps with COEs.
Wow.
So if you have a borrower that's having a struggle getting their COE, bring that loan to Calibrate and we'll help you. So I sent all the documentation up. They told me what I needed. The borrower went and got exactly what we needed because it was different than what he was being told. We got it. VA still rejected it.
What?
Still didn't get the COE. So I said, send it all to me. So I sent it up to my COE department. They picked up the phone. They called VA. They got it worked out. And in 3 hours, we had a COE.
No way.
No joke.
See,
no
that's
joke.
just like, above and beyond. Like,
Right.
that's when it's just like, hey,
Right.
again, Calibrate cares, especially when it comes to veterans. Like, hey, we want to help this
That's
veteran.
right.
We want to serve this community. They've served our country so valiantly. Like, we
Absolutely.
have to go above and beyond to make sure this works.
Absolutely. And that's what we do at Calibrate. That's what we do.
It's that knowledge too that you bring. Like, you've been in this industry, like, you understand that you can look at a file and you can be like, you know what, something's not quite right here. And that's where your expertise comes into play, where it can serve so many people. And that's where, again, it just shows that you care because you've been willing to dedicate your life to this,
Right.
dedicate to the people you serve.
We have AEs at Calibrate have years and years, even more experience than I had. And prior to being an account executive, I was a loan officer. So I kind of came into this being on the other side of the table, and I know what it's like to be on that side of the table. I know what it's like. So, I mean, and so I had a file, and I like to roll up my sleeves and dig in and get into a file and try to find a solution to help close the loan. So I had a file come in, and it was a really amazing borrower. But the AUS had an error in it. Tracy, can you fix the AUS? Sure. Let me go in, fix that. But while I'm in there, I'm like, I think I can tweak this loan. So I noticed it had 2 years of tax returns, no appraisal waiver, low LTV. I'm like, I text the loan officer, do you mind if I just tweak this a bit? See what I can get? No, go ahead, Trace, do it. So I go in and I tweak it. And it was just a matter of Fannie Mae allows you to deduct alimony from income. Instead of listing it as a liability, you can deduct it.
Sure.
So I moved it over and I'm deducting it instead. And then there's also a way that you can put employment in, like it's the order of the employment that can improve your findings.
Wow.
So I go in and I do that. Now I have 1 year tax returns and an appraisal waiver. So again, it's underwriters that have experience, AEs that have experience, people that know loans that are willing to roll up their sleeves and improve a file. So this was already a good borrower. But instead of taking 20 days, it took just the minimum 10-day waiting period to get the loan out the door because I hardly have any conditions on it, right?
Well, here's the thing with that, too, is now that you've gone from 20 days to 10 days, now that borrower is so exceptionally happy that they're like, oh, my gosh, like my loan advisor, he or she went above and beyond. So, again, that's making the originator look fantastic, which again, that's what you're helping with. It's all about relationships.
Right.
If you can help that originator, build that relationship and that trust even more, it just shows that they care. It shows that they're truly invested in what they're doing.
One of my clients just says this to me all the time, only at Calibrate with this file could have happened. And it's not because our guidelines are different. It's because the knowledge that the underwriters have, the experience the underwriters have, the understanding of the selling guides. As a matter of fact, I say all the time, hey, guidelines are my friend.
Not many people say that.
But they are, because you think about it. If
Yep.
you understand the difference between Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, USDA, like you know which product is
Sure.
going to be best for that borrower. When you understand, they call me and they're like, Trace, can you help me structure this loan? I'm like, you want to go Fannie Mae on this one. You want to go Freddie. No. Don't even try conventional on this loan. FHA is the way to go on this loan. So when you understand those guidelines as well as we do, then we can put the borrower in the best loan, and you're not spinning your wheels or running in circles trying to get a loan done. You know up front how to get your loan done.
That's got to give you a sense of pride too, knowing that you're the originators, the mortgage experts that are reaching out to you, that you're pretty confident. If you don't have the answer, you can find the answer pretty quick. But it's got to give you a sense of pride, like knowing that you have dedicated and spent so much time expanding your knowledge on this. So when you do get those phone calls, you can help them find that perfect solution for that borrower.
If I don't know the answer, I'll find the answer. If I can't figure it out, and that's the other great thing about Calibrate, there's not a lot of red tape.
Sure.
If my underwriting manager is not sure, he'll go to his manager, and she may say, call Fannie Mae. Let's get clarification on this. I mean, that's the way we operate at Caliber. There's no red tape to getting a loan done.
That's amazing.
There's no red tape.
And again, it just shows that Caliber cares. Caliber cares about helping people finance the American dream. That's what we're talking about. It's so much more than just getting a loan. It's so much more than just finding a program. There's so much more that goes into it, and that's where it's fun to sit down with somebody like you who understands that, and Caliber's background and all that they do. It's just a lot of fun. So, do you have any other stories you want to share?
Well, let me see.
She has this.
I have a list
you guys
of
can't
stories.
See this. She literally has story after story after story. And again, that's what's so cool about what you get to do is you get these stories that come to you, and you get to share them with others, and it helps them expand their knowledge, expand what they're doing. So, what other fun stories do you have?
You know,
for us?
I had an underwriter call me up this week, and she was needing some help on the loan. At the end of the loan, she goes, Tracy, we're obsessed. And I'm like, oh, you're right. We are so obsessed. We both love mortgages. And isn't it great that you have an underwriter saying, I'm obsessed with mortgages?
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal because she has the same passion I do to finding, to doing the right thing. I mean, obviously, we all want to do the right thing.
Course.
We're not going to close a bad loan. We're not going to, intentionally make an error in guidelines. That's never done intentionally. We always want to close a loan the right way. But I love that we have a team that's dedicated to obtaining the knowledge that we need to close a loan. And recently, one of my brokers was, a competitor called and said, "Hey, we don't see your business lately. Like, where's all your loans? Like, where are you taking them?" I'm taking them to Caliber. Well, we do this better. We do this better. We do this better than Caliber. And he finally goes, you might, but at Caliber we're treated like family.
Wow.
So I'm keeping my loans at Caliber.
See,
So so all I say, I invite you to come to Caliber and get treated like family and join the Caliber family. It's an extended family. We welcome all of you.
See, and that's where I think, again, we're not talking ill on any other lender out there. And actually, as a matter of fact, when I first called you, that you look for opportunities to collaborate. And if you even mentioned when we were talking, getting ready for this, that you've even referred. If you guys can't do it, sometimes you'll have to refer out. Like, hey, you know what? This is not inside of our wheelhouse. But as a matter of fact, I know where the solution is. And that's where, again, where you care about people. Even if Caliber's not going to get that loan, you're going to tell your originator, you're going to say, hey, you know what? It's going to be best for your borrower, best for your consumer if you go with this option. And that may not be you all the time. That's true sense of like humility when it comes to an account executives, and you have that. And that's, again, where it just shows that you care.
I had a broker call me, and the loan was not in my pipeline. And they said, they're telling me that I can't have any gap in overtime on an FHA loan. And they've had a gap in the last 12 months. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That underwriter's right. You can't have a gap. And I said, but that loan can go Fannie Mae. They had a 2-year history. They just had a gap in the last 12 months.
Oh, sure.
So I said, that loan can go Fannie Mae any day of the week. You're fine. You can close that loan. And they're like, they didn't tell me that. I'm like, just close the loan. You can do it. So they called that underwriter back and they said, oh, yeah, I guess you can.
Wow.
But, hopefully I'll get their next loan, right? But that's what we do. That's what I'm on every email that goes from my underwriters to my brokers. So if I can find a solution that my underwriter's not thinking of, I'm going to jump in. We're going to find a solution. We work collaboratively to close your loan.
Calibre collaborates and Calibre cares. I think that's,
There you go.
with that, ladies and gentlemen, there's so many things. There's so many more stories that you could share. But Tracy, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day, sharing some of these stories, sharing how truly Calibre cares about the people. It's more about technology. It's more about the original. It's about Calibre caring. It's about people and those relationships.
That's
so
right.
thank you so much for taking a few minutes
My
today.
pleasure.
And
My
sharing.
pleasure.
We're going to have on, because I'm sure there are so many stories that we didn't even get to get to. But hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, that you heard some of the stories, and hopefully maybe you were one of those stories, and hopefully you give Calibre an opportunity to care about you and the people that you serve. So with that, guys, Tracy, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
You
and
bet.
all of you, we appreciate you. We love you. Make sure you show up, you hustle, you repeat every day. See you guys.